Hello, and welcome to the SORT Banking with SIL training. My name is Courtney Laukitis. I am the Program Manager to Student Organizations in the Office for Student Involvement and Leadership. This training is a requirement for both presidents and treasurers to complete in order to obtain active status and complete all of the SORT trainings. To go over some housekeeping items, you are required to obtain an 80% or better in order to pass this training. And so I don't want you to worry so much about that grade, but just be aware of it. If you don't obtain that 80%, I will be either emailing you or I'll be sending a message through the form that you submitted on Engage to indicate that you need to retake the training and complete that, get that requirement. Speaking of your Engage form, be sure to have your Engage form nearby so that you can answer the questions and complete the form as you go through the training. You're welcome to either listen or to watch the training of the video recording here. And ultimately, the Engage form, once it is submitted, that counts as your attendance for the SORT program. Because this is a pre-recorded training, you are welcome to start, stop, rewind, or fast forward the video at any time. And so if you need to rehear some information or look over some of the information that's provided on the screen for you, of course, you're welcome to do that. And then you can also start and stop your Engage form at any time. That information gets saved to your Engage profile. And if you need help navigating that because you aren't able to finish a full training in one seat, please let me know and I can help you navigate that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. To do an overview of this training, we're going to talk about finance and Engage updates. We'll talk about the banking and funding overview, timelines and due dates, understanding your FOAP, talk about some funding opportunities, and lastly, we're going to go over a little bit of some of the finances and events that our student organization hosts and what that process looks like. Finance and Engage updates. So starting in fall of 2023, there will be some new tools and forms that are used on Engage for student organizations. I'm going to be really honest, I'm super jazzed about this. And so I hope that this helps streamline the process and information for you all. And if there's anything that we can do to make some updates and just, talk organically about the process that you're experiencing, please let me know because I'm happy to adjust and make accommodations as we need. So what this all means is that student organizations will now be able to see their account balance on Engage. When making a purchase for your organizations, starting in fall of 2023, you will use the purchase request form through the Finance tab on Engage. Student organization treasurers will have a more hands-on experience with operating the organization's budget and the purchasing process. Student organizations will be able to see the purchase history through the account history of the purchases that have been completed on the Finance tab. And lastly, student organizations who are traveling overnight or within 50 miles outside of the campus will be required to complete a pre- and post-travel form on Engage. So banking and funding overview. This is a great resource and tool to just kind of understand the different forms that are used and required throughout the act of purchasing and banking with our office and within your organization. So we've touched on some of these already just in the last slide, but one of the first things that we'll be providing to you via Engage is the student organization travel form. We have that broken down into two forms. This aligns with the processes that the university has in place for everybody else to travel. And so we have replicated that process on Engage for our student organizations as well. You will be required to complete a pre-travel and a post-travel. So you'll complete it 90 days before you leave and then almost immediately after you come home. For contracts, some of the forms that you need to be aware of that are used in contracts is a W-9 form, memorandum of agreement, and a speaker agreement. Robin Johnson can help you with identifying some of these forms and when to use them at a later time or as you're going through the purchase process, but just be aware that there's additional paperwork that needs to be completed for contracts. If you are going to be handling cash for an event like a bake sale or a ticket sale for an event that you're having, you will be able to get money out, get your petty cash out to give change back. And then you can also get a locked bag or a cash box from our office to keep your money secure while you're doing your event. There are a number of fundraising opportunities. Chipotle has been a huge fundraiser in the past year for our organizations, and so there's a ton of opportunities in the community for you to fundraise for upcoming events or just for your own organization, for the future of your organization. So if you have questions about fundraising or need help with any of the documentation that the business might need, please let us know and we can help you out there. Ordering promotional items. There is a company called Laukitis that we use as our number one vendor for anything and everything that you might need for your student organization. So this would be like t-shirts, or if you want to have some swag and you want to get some pens, lanyards, cups, frisbees, anything like that. If you need to order a tablecloth for your organization, you can do that through ordering of promotional items with Laukitis. This is something that you'll complete in the purchase request form, which is explained a little bit more in the Managing Org Finances training. But just know that there is a company that we use and we can give you that information as well. Catering processes. Currently, catering processes are in the process of changing. We will be welcoming a new catering services provider in the summer and into the fall semester. So just know that some of our processes and policies might be changing, and we will be sharing that information with you. But there is going to be a process in place for student organizations to get internal and or external catering for any events that you have going on. The tax exempt form, our university is tax exempt, and so if you're ever making a purchase online or in store or in person, you will need to provide the tax exempt form to that business so that we don't get taxed because of our university's financial processes. The procurement card, also known as the Pro Card, is our office's credit card, and all student organizations have access to this. You will need to make an appointment with Robin, and that can be scheduled through the purchase request form on Engage. And you can just take the Pro Card and go out and make your purchases and come back, and there's some additional paperwork that you'll need to fill out, but you do have access to a credit card for your student organization's purchases. Venmo and Marketplace. Venmo is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing in the real world, and it's a curse in the university world. So Venmo is not a form of money or payment that is permitted on university property for student organizations. So if you're having a bake sale, you need to get petty cash. You cannot use Venmo. But there is a system and a tool called Marketplace that if you're going to be selling things like a $5 registration ticket to get into an event because you're raising money for your organization, or you're paying dues or anything like that, and it's a set price, you can use Marketplace through our division, and we will set that up for you so that you can use online purchases, but you cannot use Venmo. Pepsi form, we are Pepsi campus, and so Pepsi allows us to have a set amount of product that we are able to give out to student organizations for free. And so there's a Pepsi form that is approved by the director of our division, or our office, Eric Corbett, and you can fill that out and request, if you need like 5 bottles of water and 3 bottles of Pepsi and 3 bottles of Diet Pepsi for an event, you can request free product that is provided to us from Pepsi. Prize form, there is a prize form that anytime that you are giving a prize, if it's a raffle basket or if it's from some free swag that's been donated, whatever it might be, there is a prize form that you will need to fill out. And you fill out the top part of it, and then the recipient of that prize will sign and date the bottom part of the form. That is available on our website and on Engage. And anytime that you're doing that, you'll need to fill it out and bring it to Robin Johnson, and she will file that away from you. And lastly, we have a gift form. The gift form is if you are receiving a financial gift from an outside business or an outside supporter. So if you are receiving money for an upcoming event, and you don't know what to do with the check or what to do with the money, you'll start with a gift form, and then we will help you make sure that money gets to the right spot. So lots of information, lots of forms here. I promise we will continue to provide all of this information to you in other instructional videos and other handouts and just additional resources in general. But I want you to understand that there's a lot that goes on with banking and funding from a student organization perspective. And so if you ever forget or if you ever aren't sure of what you should do, come into our office, send any of us an email, and we can help you navigate that process. Okay, so timelines and due dates. This is an extension of what we just went over, but it defines things a little bit more for you. So purchase request. A purchase request is going to be a new tool, a new form that we use through the student organization finance tab that is on Engage. So whenever you want to make a purchase, you will go on to your student organization's profile, you'll click on the finance tab, and then you will create a purchase request form. For general purpose purchases, so anything that is happening within like a local community, like if you need to go to Walmart or Party City or Meijer or anything like that, any of those general purchases need to be completed 10 to 45 days in advance. And then if you're working with like an external vendor, and that's anything from like a contract to ordering things on Amazon, needs to be done 60 to 90 days in advance, depending on what you're trying to order. So doing a purchase request as early as humanly possible is going to be your best bet. And if you have questions about that, please let us know. The withdrawal form. So this is to get physical money, or what we call petty cash, from your student organization account to be able to spend for an event. There is a maximum amount of $200 per event that you are permitted to get out from your account. The withdrawal form is available in our office, and you need to complete that form within 10 business days. The deposit form. So this would be anytime that you have money that you need to deposit into your account, the deposit form is available in our office, and it takes 5 days to show up in your FOAP number. Prize forms, we went over this a little bit, but just to give you an extension on this, your prize forms need to be completed to show what prize you were given, who received the prize, where you got the prize from. All of the fields in that form will be completed. And that is available on Engage, in our office, and on our SIL website. As soon as you are done with that event or gathering that information from the prize forms, please bring that form immediately to SIL. Robin will sign it and file it away from you. Receipt covers. Receipt covers is a part of the additional paperwork that's completed once you have used the Pro card. So there you will bring if you're making a purchase, let's say you're making a purchase at Walmart, you will bring your itemized receipt to our office. We will attach it to a receipt cover, and it will need to be completed and returned the same day that you use the Pro card. Typically, our front staff office helps you with this, and so as soon as you bring the Pro card back to our office, we'll have you fill out a Pro card or a receipt cover right there. The pre and post travel forms, reminder, the travel forms are for anything that is overnight and or 50 miles outside of campus. And that form is both of those forms are available on Engage. If you are going to be traveling, you need to complete this at least 90 days prior to your travel departure. And then whenever you come home, you have about 10 days to complete it after you've returned home. Reimbursements. Reimbursements is something that is not favored by the university, and we highly, highly, highly recommend that you do not use your credit card or debit card for your own personal money to ask for a reimbursement. In the case, because it might happen, in the case that you need a reimbursement, we are only accepting reimbursements for 3 days after the purchase. So if you make a purchase on Monday and you happen to use your personal debit or credit card, you have until Thursday to file that reimbursement form, and you will file it with either Robin Johnson or Lisa Burke. If you have questions about that, please let us know. We really don't want anyone using their personal debit or credit card. We want you to be using the funds that are provided to you from the university through SOBC or SFC, or using your own account money that is in your agency account. So please just be mindful of that in your planning for whenever you're making purchases. And lastly, contracts. This again is part of that the W-9 or the speaker artist agreement or the memorandum of agreement. The form to fill out contracts starts on Engage and will continue most likely via email. And it is a 30-day minimum for that form to be completed. So again, lots of information, lots of resources to come, lots of reminders to come, but just to have a snapshot and to have an understanding of some of the timelines and due dates that are required for some of these forms, because it does take several days, and there is a very long process for these forms to go through. So the earlier that you can get them submitted, the better for the success of your event and your organization. So let's go over understanding your FOAP. Your FOAP is a string of numbers that acts as your student organization's account. Furthermore, it is labeled as fund, organization, account, and program. Please note that there's an asterisk on the account, as organizations are not required to have this number, but you may see it on forms, and SIL can fill in that information in later. You also might see the account show up in your budget form on Engage or your purchase request form on Engage. Some of the FOAP examples include Tier 2s, which starts with a 999 and then continues on for the organization and program number to be 211-300 98005. Our tier 2 sport clubs they also start with a 999 number for their fund. Their organization number is a 211190, and their program number is 98005. Tier 3 organizations, their fund number is 190000 with an organization number of 211XXX, and then program is a 5005. Foundation accounts will start with 55. So just to have an idea of some of the numbers that we use and some of the strings that we use, you'll get familiar with it as you make more purchases, but just be aware of some of the numbers that you might need to use in the future. Furthermore, I want to break it down just one step further to really understand the FOAP. A fund is a self-balancing set of accounts indicating where the funding of a purchase or transfer is coming from. The organization is an operating ledger and indicates who is spending for a particular purchase. The account indicates what type of item is being recorded, and a program indicates the purpose or mission of a transaction. So that kind of explains like the 999, 211, 300, whatever the account might be. So if it's supplies, it's going to be 773, whatever the rest of the number is, and then the program will be 98005. Understanding that string tells you where, who, what, and why. And so I want to share that information with you to just help you understand the FOAP number a little bit more, so you can start indicating some of those differences as you're utilizing the FOAP number and some of the purchases that you're making. The president and the treasurer are the only members of the organization who have access to the FOAP number. The president and treasurer can designate another member. So if you have like a fundraising chair or an events chair that need to have access to that information, they definitely can. But please remember that this is it's like your account number. It's like your routing number. So it can be used across campus. And if the wrong person gets a hold of it, it might be a bad situation. So please be very careful and aware of who has access to the FOAP number, and make sure that they're utilizing it in the best way. Like I just mentioned, the FOAP number can be used across campus to pay for services such as printing, AV, and catering. So if you are working with internal catering, they might ask for your FOAP number, and you can provide it to them, and they will charge your account directly. Okay, so funding opportunities. Just to talk about some funding ways that you can get funding from the university for your student organization. One of the most popular ways is through the SOBC, or Student Organization Budget Committee. Student Involvement and Leadership designates university funds to the Student Organization Budget Committee to encourage campus engagement through student organizations. Funds provided by the SOBC help foster student engagement opportunities and leadership development at Wright State. You'll see here at the bottom of this slide that they're like the breakdown of when and who has access to this. Tier 1 organizations unfortunately are ineligible to have access to SOBC funds, where Tier 2 organizations, they submit their budgets semesterly. So you will request money in the spring semester to utilize the funds in the fall, and then you will request money in the fall to utilize those funds in the spring. We specifically fall request, to use the money in the fall, you need to submit your request in March, and then to use your money in the spring, you'll need to submit that information in November. There's an entire committee who helps you out with this, and they will be sending out lots of information throughout the academic year. So be on the lookout for some of that information. And then lastly, Tier 3 organizations, they submit yearly. So they have one budget that they submit in March. SFC. I messed up. Tier 3 organizations who have allocated money from SOBC are required to submit a post-audit at the end of the semester. Again, the SOBC organization, the committee, they send out that information, and you'll be able to see more of your post-audits and the transaction history of your accounts that you're using on Engage coming the fall semester. So that process will be streamlined for you as well. Another funding opportunity is through the Special Funding Committee, or SFC. Student Involvement and Leadership provides an alternative funding source for one-time activity, events, or programs sponsored by registered student organizations that are not otherwise financially supported by the SOBC process. SFC applications are available all academic year and is available under the Finance tab of your student organization's profile. I know that this, again, is a ton of information to go over, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, but know that we have resources and information available to you through our website. And if you go to wright.edu/SOBC, you'll be able to find out all the information about the funding opportunities. So finance and events. As we wrap up here, I want to go over the process for events and finances. As you submit events and build your student organization calendar, you will receive emails from event services to confirm your event logistics. Those emails will have statuses that include titles like hold, confirm pending services, and finalized. There may be additional charges for some of those services and labor fees. And so the finalized email will have a PDF attached that provides the information of those additional charges as they are applicable. If your event, activity, or meeting is providing internal catering services, you will also receive emails from catering services to provide with the final cost and itemized list of the services provided in that or for that event or meeting. And for external catering, the restaurant needs to provide a quote and or invoice for catering services. So this information will be shared with catering services for approval. Please note that because we are going through a change of our catering services provider, some of the processes and information might be subject to change, but we'll share that information with you as soon as we can. And one last thing here, as you plan your events, you will utilize tools and resources through your organization's Engage profile to make those purchases. As shared in the Managing Org Finances training and through the SORT resource library, treasurers will learn how to utilize the finance tool and use that tool as a resource as the money is being spent from your different accounts. I want to share this information with you because events is a huge aspect of our student organization existence and your mission and purpose and just the student life that happens on campus, and being sure that you are utilizing your finances and your events to, at the same time and holistically, and having like that collaboration between, your budget tab and your finance tab and your events tab is just so important to understand and to know. And so I want to share that information with you just as a good rule of thumb. So that wraps up our training for today. Thank you so much for your participation and for your hearing out this information about how to bank with SIL. If you have any questions at all, please send me an email at sort@right.edu or courtney.laukitis@right.edu. Don't forget to hit that blue submit button so that you can get accounted for attendance, and we will talk to you soon. I hope you have a great day. Bye.